On the inside of row number 1, it'll be Rob Rawson out of Big Lake, Minnesota, the 24R, and flanking him to driver's right, it'll be the 45 out of Lincoln, Nebraska. That is Monty Ferreira. Bailey Ballinger from Harrisburg, South Dakota, the 6B. On the inside of row number 2, Mike Steen out of Ceylon, Minnesota, the 4 will start 4th. Row number 3 here tonight will be Jeff Wilkie out of Knoxville, Iowa, the 41 on the inside of the 3rd row. Alongside is Hunter Hansen, the 9A out of Lakefield, Minnesota. And John Lammerts, the 12L, easy for me to say, sorry about that, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, is where he calls home. So the 12L will start 7th, but John Lammerts had an early win in May out at Huset's in the 12L machine. Well, if you're familiar with the Racing Hansons out of Lakefield, Minnesota, Hunter Hansen, related to the late Dwayne Hansen from Lakefield, Minnesota. Hunter's father, Dylan, would have been a nephew to Dwayne. Bailey Ballinger in the 6B at Harrisburg, South Dakota. That is Dusty Ballinger. That would be his daughter. Of course, Dusty, a longtime competitor in the sprint car division. Eight laps, the racing distance in each of your IMCA sprint car heat races here tonight. Your IMCA Race Saver sprint cars will get so Rob Rawson and Monty Ferreira, the 24R and the 45, respectively, will be your front row. So Ferreira, the 45, will assume his position on the outside of that front row. Talk to Monty for a little bit before tonight's races. Said this is the first of a 3-night swing, making the pull here to Algona here tonight on Thursday, heading to Missouri for a 2-night stint at a couple of different speedways in Missouri after this in the 45. So Rawson and Ferreira on row 1. Bailey Ballinger, Michael Steen, row 2. Jeff Wilkie and Hunter Hansen, the 3rd row. The 12L of John Lammerts will not make the call here for heat race number 1. 8 laps, all drivers qualified to tonight's 25-lap A main. Top 4 will head to the infield for a quick tech inspection, and the top 4 will also redraw out of each heat race here tonight. Ready to crank off IMCA Race Saver sprint cars. It's been quite some time since we've had wing sprint cars here at the Thunderdome. Ready out of turn number 4. Green flag is out, we're underway. Monty Ferreira going to shoot to the outside. He's going to lead down the back straightaway. The driver of Lincoln, Nebraska, in the 45, assuming the early command of this one. Rawson in second here on lap number 1. So Ferreira out in front, Rawson second, Steen settling in to the second spot. Bailey Ballinger continues to be in the top 4 to battle for position as we give Hansen a spot, and look out, one upside down in turn number 4. Red flag is out as the 41 of Jeff Wilkie out of Knoxville, Iowa, the 41, got upside down in turn number 4. So once I have any type of word here in the tower, I will be sure to pass it along here tonight. Our track and rescue personnel on the scene very quickly here in turn number 4. So race fans, I just got official word here in the tower. The driver is out of the car. He may have just a little further evaluation with our medical personnel on staff. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, the best news of all, got the official word. He is out of the car there in turn number 4. And that was Jeff Wilkie, the 41 out of Knoxville, Iowa. Unfortunately, upside down early here in heat race number 1. So like we said, driver out of the car. They were perhaps going to do a little more evaluation. But, of course, best news of all, driver is out of the car. So we will resume our IMCA Race Saver Sprint cars here momentarily. Once everything is taken care of and squared away in turn number 4, your IMCA Modifieds will be out next for their heat race. And then our IMC Hobby Stocks, IMC Northern Sport Mods, and IMC Stock Cars will soon follow after that. So for those on IMCA TV, going to check the replay here as 41 attempting to cross over, and that thing just started to list over on the right rear. And then she took off from there, and they landed up back on all four wheels, but tried the crossover move there on Hunter Hansen and just kind of started to list to the right, and unfortunately momentum carried the driver up and over. Driver in the 41, Jeff Wilkie. So turn number 4 just about cleaned up. I believe 2 laps have been recorded on the 8-lap IMCA Race Saver 305 sprint cars. And as we talked earlier, the engine package in the Race Saver sprint car division, based off of a 305 cubic inch displacement engine. They run a spec cylinder head. They are injected on methanol. So I would presume here momentarily we get things back underway. I believe it's August 17th, as we said, our sport compacts and our cruisers. There's a night or two that we're not going to run them during the season, whether it's to accommodate a special or whatever. I believe Suit to Veterans might be the other one. We're going to run, what do we got? Cruisers, sport compacts, American-made late models, and I think maybe the Crown Vic division that you see at a couple of other speedways in the area. Going to do that on a late Sunday afternoon or early Sunday evening. August 17th is when that just recently scheduled event will take place. Your IMCA Race Saver Sprints competing for an $800 top prize here tonight. The IMC Stock Car Special, the Bex Hybrids 2000 IMC Stock Car Show. Well, rained out last week. That will now take place next Thursday here. That'll all be part of fan appreciation. We roll back the grandstand admission price. I believe it's $9 to get in next week here is all part of fan appreciation. We'll be saluting 1986 when the track here reopened on a full-time basis in 1986. Our IMCA Race Saver Sprints had asked for a cone on the front straightaway. They will do single file restarts once they have got a lap into either their heat races or their mains here tonight. Obviously, many other IMC divisions do the Delaware double file restart, where it's double file throughout most of the field, obviously, except for the leader. Your Race Saver Sprints will restart single file and stay single file until they get to the cone here on the front straightaway by our chief starter, Logan Kelly. So the 45 of Monty Ferreira out of out of Lincoln, Nebraska, the 45 will set the pace here to the front straightaway. We're back underway. Rawson in the 24R going to continue to try and track down early leader Monty Ferreira. And Ferreira in command here so far, opening up about a second and a quarter of a lead as Rawson, Steen, and Bailey Ballinger, the top four. The 9A of Hunter Hansen continues to ride in the top five. That is your running order here once we got things back underway halfway through this one. It'll be 5 in and 3 to go the next time we cross the stripe here tonight. And Monty Ferreira, the Nebraska driver, legging it out here in this one. As by, call it about half a straightaway. Ferreira, night number 1 of his 3-race swing as he's going to make his way to Missouri tomorrow. Green flag high in the air. We got 2 to go. So Ferreira flat gone in this one. Rawson, Steen, Ballinger, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on the back straightaway. Hansen still 5th. We come to the white flag. We got 1 to go. Monty Ferreira making quick work of this heat race. He will charge here to the front straight with a 45. Will win Race Saver Sprint. Heat race number 1. Good run for the 24R of Rob Rawson out of Big Lake, Minnesota. Will finish in that 2nd spot. And Mike Steen out of Sea Line, Minnesota will complete the top 4. And Hunter Hansen, Lakefield, Minnesota, the rest of the top 5. And your running order here to wrap up heat race number 1. Heat race number 2, again 8 laps in length. All drivers qualify. Top 4 will redraw here tonight. On the inside of row number 1, it'll be Johnny Sullivan out of Arnold's Park, Iowa, the 91. Alongside in that first row will be Trevor Service from Olivia, Minnesota, the 24. Last year's national champion in this division at Hartford, South Dakota, will fire off on the inside of row number 2 in the 17. That is Lee Goes Jr. And alongside it's Logan Moore in the 6. Out of Des Moines, starting 4th. Maddie Miller from Vale, Iowa, the 28 on the inside of the 3rd row. And Joe Miller, also from Vale, the 53, will be the final starter here tonight. As we said, the 17 of Lee Goes Jr., last year's Race Saver Sprint Car National Champ. South Dakota driver joined Matt Richards, Steve Ballinger, Doug Wolfgang, and Dusty Ballinger from South Dakota to do it, if my notes are correct. And if I'm not, well, I apologize. So the top 4 quickly across the scales. All drivers in the top 4 of each of the heat races will draw. Heat race winners will draw in one group for their position. Second place drivers will then draw, and et cetera, amongst the top 4. Be sure to tune into the Dirt Show on KOWZ 100.9 FM every Saturday night at 11. Host Clayton Dushik brings you interviews with the stars of dirt track racing from across the country, as well as weekly updates from the southern Minnesota and upper Midwest dirt racing scene, and also on many stations across the area. Be sure to listen to the Dirt Show. We appreciate their support of racing across the upper Midwest and Minnesota region. Concession stand is open. Tachos tonight. So is that like if tacos and nachos had a child or no? Oh, tots. Oh, I got you. Oh, I was way on a whole different wavelength there. In more ways than one. Tachos. Johnny Sullivan, Trevor Service, row number 1. Lee Goes Jr. and Logan Moore, row 2. Maddie Miller and Joe Miller comprising the 3rd and final row here tonight. 8 laps. Top 4 to the redraw. Under the watchful eye of Logan Kelly when they're double file. Of course, start and turn number 4. One of them nose to tail and side by side. They will do so. Green is out underway. On the break, Johnny Sullivan from Arnold's Park, Iowa, had the break, but the 24 of Trevor Service quickly now up into the top spot. Service on the hunt right now. Going to lead the pack as we go to turns 1 and 2. Sullivan settling back into second and falling into the clutches of 17 of last year's national champ. Lee Goes Jr. sits in the third spot in the 17, sizing up Sullivan as we come out of turn number 4. So Sullivan, good-looking hot rod, able to fend off Goes there in the 17 machine here in the back straightaway. Logan Moore is fourth. Fifth is Matty Miller. As Goes falls back here for a moment. Service still your race leader. We will come to the halfway mark this time as Sullivan has fended off the advances of Lee Goes Jr. and Logan Moore thus far in heat race number 2. Yeah, Goes gave Sullivan all he wanted. You've seen Goes there just sail that thing to the north side of the speedway. But, boy, Trevor Service sort of the outside of row number 1 out of Olivia, Minnesota, and setting a fast pace in this one here with 2 to go. By a straightaway, it is Service over Sullivan and Lee Goes Jr. That is second and third in frame as we swing to the back straightaway. A straightaway in front of this duo on screen is your race leader, Trevor Service, coming to the white flag. Goes trying to give it one more shot here to turns 1 and 2. That is the battle on track right now as Sullivan climbs the banking. Goes going to try and run him down. Service well in command, going to cross the line. Trevor Service going to win this one. And Sullivan and Goes will go second and third. And the top 4 here in heat race number 2. Trevor Service by nearly 4 seconds. A straightaway advantage at the end of this one. The 24 will win it. Johnny Sullivan second, Lee Goes Jr. third, and Logan Moore will complete the top 4 in heat race number 2. Third and final IMCA Race Saver 305 sprint heat race. We'll have the 9 of Laney Moore out of Des Moines on the inside of the first row. On the outside, Dusty Ballinger, the 2B out of Harrisburg, South Dakota. Papillion, Nebraska driver in the 15V will be on the inside of row number 2. That is Cole Vanderheiden. On the outside will be Dominic White from Plainview, Nebraska, the 11D. Brandon Halverson from Jackson, Minnesota will square off on the inside of the third row of the 4SS. And Jake Greenwood from Woodward, Iowa, the 43, will be your final starter here in heat race number 3 of your IMCA Race Saver Sprint cars. Dusty Ballinger in the 2D on the outside of row number 1 as they passed IMCA Race Saver Sprint, Sprint Car National Champion, and picked up a late May win up at the Rapids Speedway, Rock Rapids, Iowa. Brandon Halverson will be on the inside of row number 3 in the 4SS. A couple of his best runs on the season so far was second at Huset's and third at Arlington, Minnesota a little earlier in May. So tractor going to make its way in as we continue to maintain the speedway and get our final IMCA Race Saver sprint car heat race formed up and ready to go for 8. Caution lights turned off on the back straightaway. Going to go for 8 this time on a turn number 4. RPM starting to quicken. Green flag is out and underway. And IMCA Race Saver heat race number 3, the 9 of Laney Moore, going to be the early leader here to the back straightaway. Dusty Ballinger settling into the second position. Third and fourth, and a bit of question as we got one near the fence. And we will continue on here tonight as Vander Heiden in the 15V riding in the third position. Dominic White, the 11D, will knock down the 4 spot. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 all in close proximity here as we race our way here to the front straightaway. Laney Moore, dry rod in Des Moines, Iowa, the 9 with a nice advantage over Dusty Ballinger in the 2D. Out of Harrisburg, South Dakota. Cole Vander Heiden keeping Dusty Ballinger certainly within the gun sights here on the back straightaway in a battle for second and third. Rest of the running order, Brandon Halverson rides in 5th. Jake Greenwood in the 43. The rest of the running order pretty much staying put right where they were the prior lap as Laney Moore continues to march a little further away. Here's it coming to the front straightaway. 3 to go in this one as we go to 1. A couple tenths quicker that time at the stripe for Laney Moore. A 1.5 second advantage, and I think it continues to build on the 2D. A Ballinger in the second spot. Green flag high in the air here in the flag stand, and we got a pair to go. Yeah, Laney Moore for sure. Nearly 2 seconds that time at the line, pulling away from the field. And Laney Moore, the 9 car at Des Moines, Iowa, making the 2-hour trek north here to the Kossuth County Speedway. And the return of wing sprint cars at the Kossuth County Fairgrounds. Checkers on the front straightaway. It'll be Laney Moore winning it. Laney Moore will win. Dusty Ballinger will finish in the second spot. Cole Vander Heiden knocks down third. Rest of the top 5 is Dominic White and Brandon Halverson. And that will wrap up your IMCA Race Saver 305 sprint car qualifying. They will all go redraw, and we will make our way to our IMCA modified heat race here tonight.